What up, you guys? I want to talk about how, I don't think. Give me a second. I don't think social media makes people worse than they are. I think it exposes how whatever type of person you are. It's gonna expose you. If you use social media to scam people, then it's not social media's fault that people go out and do that. But eventually, scammers are gonna get caught. If you're a liar, you're gonna get caught. If you're a genuine, kind person that's trying to bring value, then social media is gonna expose that. It's only like a mirror reflection of what you actually are. Some people, they use it for like mental vomit, just however they feel at the moment. They just post that. What's up, David? What's going on, bro? But yeah, some people are just posting how they feel. Some people fucking just took a crap and they want to take a picture of the size turd in their toilet and post that. Some people post ridiculous stuff, but if a person's ridiculous, they would have been ridiculous with or without social media. You know what I mean? Like these videos that we comment on that are like stupid or idiotic or whatever. Like if all the people in a comment section were to bear witness to these videos taking place in real life, don't you think we'd have the same thoughts, feelings, and opinions and things to say about what we just witnessed? You know what I mean? Except it wouldn't be in video format. We'd be witnessing it and then talking about it live. The only difference is a lot of these videos, compilation videos or like funny moments or whatever, dumb stuff. They got all these challenges, they got the ice bucket challenge and cinnamon challenge and set yourself on fire challenge. I seen that. I was like, yo, what's wrong with people, man? But yo, if you've seen someone set themselves on fire, whatever you would write on YouTube on a video like that, you'd probably have the similar thoughts in real life. You know what I mean? If someone's a bully, they're going to be a bully on social media. So yeah, man, I really think it's it's like you bearing witness to someone looking at their own mirror reflection, right? And that's just who they are now. It doesn't mean that people can't change, or they can't evolve or think differently later on. But for now, so, yeah. So some people who are secluded and nerdy or probably don't have many friends, it's going to probably be the same on social media. If you're antisocial in real life, you might not gravitate towards people in the digital world either. You might be closed in there as well. So give me a second. What's up, James? So yeah, man, sometimes we get mad at what people post on social media. I want to talk about subliminal posts, right? Sometimes somebody posts something and you swear that they're talking about you behind your back. Maybe they are, but if someone thought you was a piece of shit, my question to you is, would you like to know that, or would you rather not know that stuff? Why wouldn't you want to know how someone feels? Here's usually the reason we want to know what someone's saying about us behind our back, so that we could get offended, And it's you want information so you could feel negative about it. I don't know. For me personally, if there's ever a time where I want to know anything that's being said about me, it's not because I want to get offended. It's because I could adapt and change my approach. You know what I mean? Maybe I said something and I came across offensive. And if I don't adapt, because there's a lot of situations where you might bother somebody and they don't directly tell you, they'll tell somebody else because maybe they're just not, they're an introverted person. They feel like calling you out on your shit leads to confrontation, right? So most humans will do anything to avoid confrontation. They'll talk to a friend that knows you about you. You know what I mean? Because it's easy. You might wonder why they do that. It's easier. Everything that humans do that you wonder why the hell is someone doing that? It's probably easier to function in that way than to do things the opposite way. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to be a disloyal person. It's easier to be a liar. It's easier to be deceptive and have no morals or principles. You know what I mean? All that stuff is easy. That's why so many people are going down that path, But anyways, so yeah, if someone wrote a subliminal post about you and let's say it's about you, for sure, and you find out that it really is, that's a good thing that you know what I mean? If it wasn't for social media, how else would you have found out that they feel so negatively towards you? I mean, maybe they would have told a friend and you might have found out that way. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing though, with social media, the difference is now when we find a good restaurant, we might get on a phone and call 2 people, 3 people, most, maybe 4, and tell them about it. But now when we find a good restaurant, we could take a picture of it. Like we could post like the location. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you know how that benefits businesses, social media? Like now instead of four people finding out that you found a good spot to eat, now like instead of let's say instead of 12 people, now 112 people could find out, or 312 people. I don't know how damn popular you are, but like you posting that, like it could probably bring that restaurant like so much more business. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, like the things that you see people say, it's only a reflection of what they're thinking. Like it's impossible for you to post something without first thinking it. You know, so when you, regardless of how bothered you are by somebody's post, you know what I mean? And I never feel like the problem is that people post stupid shit. The problem is that we're easily affected by it. Like, why are we so affected? Why does a Facebook post has the power to ruin your day? Like, that's the issue. You know what I mean? Like, if we don't start seeing that as an issue, then other people will always be our issue, and we're never gonna grow and fucking evolve. You know what I mean? It's always gonna be, oh, you shouldn't have posted that because that offends my political views. Why are you so offended? You know what I'm saying? Why is that not a better question to ask yourself instead of asking why are people so offensive? Why are you so damn offended? Like, you know what I mean? Because people are always going to be offensive, but you don't always have to be offended. You know, if you learn how to just, you know, have your own point of view, right? And just not believe that people absolutely have to, as if they're under obligation, like do things your way. You know what I mean? So I never believe that. Like when I'm talking to people, like that they have to listen to anything that I'm saying, you know? I feel like they could carry on living whatever life they prefer to live, like regardless of whatever consequences or ramifications there are that they have to deal with from going down that path. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, but some people think that because I care about you means I have to, what you call it? They think that I care about you, that means I have to hassle you to death. I have to stand in the way of all your decisions that you want to make that's opposed to what I think is best for your life. You know what I mean? They think that loving you means restricting you and having your hands bound and stuff, and like not letting you walk certain directions. So there's one thing I've learned a long time ago, like, you know, if a good friend won't listen, you let adversity teach them. Like whatever lesson you're supposed to learn in life, you're going to learn. Like either life is going to teach you, and that's going to be a hard lesson, or you'll learn the easy way through someone older than you that tells you something, and maybe, you know, and then maybe you avoid a lot of pain by listening. But either way, I believe people are going to learn their lesson, whether that's easy or hard, but it's up to the individual, you know? So I just understand that some people got to knock their head upside the wall to get a message, you know, and that might sound stupid to some of us because we're like, yo, if we're 20 years older than, I know old ass people, y'all always wondering, yo, how come the young generation doesn't listen? Because they're not obligated to, you know, like when you wonder why people are not doing something, just know that they're not obligated. They have free will. Free will is the reason that people do what in the hell they want to do, you know, and sometimes their free will and the way they want to use it, it's just opposed to whatever social norms you believe in. You know what I'm saying? Like there might be certain common courtesies you believe in that other people don't, or whatever. But anyways, with the whole social media thing, I don't think it makes people crazy. I don't think it makes people, I think it's a lot easier to say fuck you on here. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, 200 years ago, if you wanted to say fuck you to a person, you had to be in person, you know? Then after that, it was like, if you wanted to curse someone out, you got to at least be on the phone. Now you don't even got to be you don't even got to say anything. You can send it in a text message. You know what I mean? So it's just like like broadcasting, like, you know, like, and it's crazy. Like this podcast that I'm talking to you on, like, it's like I'm a radio station by myself. You know what I'm saying? I hit a live button and, you know, God knows how many friends I have. I haven't checked in a while. It's over 900 people. I have no idea how many listen to this podcast, but the amount of reach that's available to me because of social media, this shit is crazy. You know what I mean? And if you're a positive person, or if you have something that you actually want to say, now's the time to be alive, man, because you could spread your message. I like social media, you know, because there's not a bunch of middlemen standing in your path towards success. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in the 90s, I say this a lot. If you wanted to be a rapper, you needed 4 business executives to think that you were marketable. Now, if you want to be a rapper, you put your ass on SoundCloud, YouTube, or whatever, and you don't need another man's permission for you to start making music. A lot of buying a microphone is a lot cheaper. Like, yo, like some people got a studio in their phone. Like some people making music out of their phone don't even have a laptop. This shit is crazy, you know? So, but yeah, so with technology, social media and stuff, and, you know, it's just amazing that a rapper could get on SoundCloud, he could get on YouTube, he could promote himself on Instagram, and he lets the market decide for him if he's marketable. You know what I mean? Because if it's been, if it's been 25 years and like nothing's happening, then maybe rap's not for you. But at least you would have had the marketplace tell you that, instead of people there's so many people now that are famous that wouldn't have been. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's a lot of people that get famous by accident. They upload a video and they didn't know what type of success was going to be on the other side of uploading that video, and now they're like massively successful, like, and from an opportunity that just wasn't present, because like I said, people had to agree with the idea of you being marketable. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, social media and stuff like this is why more and more people want to be a salesman, because the amount of people you could reach. Because if you want to be a salesman before, you had to knock on mad doors, like, now it's just like you got to add friends, like you could do it from the comfort of your home. You don't even got to leave your home, So I can't imagine when people used to have flyers, like 600 flyers, right? And they hit up buildings and they just put a flyer on like in front of every door, and then leave that building, take some more flyers, and then that's what marketing was back then. Now you don't have to do that shit. Like now, like once I ran Facebook ads before for like $7 a day for like videos that I was doing and stuff. And it's crazy how I could, like, for $7 I could get like 1,000 views per day, or probably more than that. But you know what I mean? So it's just it's nuts. Like, if you know what you're doing, if you got the marketing budget to get your message across or to do your thing, like how many people you could get in front of. And it's crazy because like the easier life gets, the more people are complaining. Shit is easier than ever now, and it's like, yo, you're gonna have to convince me that being alive now in 2019 is so much harder than it was during World War II, World War I, like, you know what I mean? So, and it's crazy. I really think people are more depressed now than ever, man, and I'm not convinced that it's social media. I think it's our inability to handle Facebook posts, our inability to handle someone with an opposing view. I think the ultimate sign of wisdom is if you could talk to somebody with an opposing view that's opposite to yours and not throw a fucking temper tantrum about it just because someone thinks differently than you. Like, if you're capable of doing that and without the slightest bit of anger, you're very intelligent, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And I don't, like, some people measure intelligence by IQ, like intellectual intelligence. But I think emotional intelligence makes you smart. EQ, like, no one really talks about that. Like, when you could say something, right, and you know exactly how it's impacting somebody, right, and you know how to make adjustments. Like, I saw this Gary Vaynerchuk video. He was talking to somebody, and as soon as he could tell that the guy got offended because he started sighing and stuff, and he instantly like patted him on the back and shook his hand, and he was like, all right, well, let's move on to another topic. You know what I mean? And then it wind down at the end. And yo, he was being frustrating for like 6 minutes towards this guy. I could see it in the other guy's facial expression. But by the end of the video, when it was winding down, like the guy was like, yo, thanks for having me on the show. Like, I appreciate being here, because the last 5 minutes or last 6 minutes were like very positive, And it was just like, and then I guess that resonated with the guy more than however annoyed he was like 15 minutes ago. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that's smart. Like, so anyways, so sometimes you're gonna see someone post something, right, that maybe you think they should or shouldn't. So I don't know, man. A lot of us don't believe, we think that we have to react. And that's why a lot of people are signing out of social media and closing their accounts, because they don't know how to not react to something that frustrates them, right? They think that that's inevitable, and the only way to change that. But here's the thing, though: the same frustrating ass people that you see on Facebook, like you log out, they're in real life. You know what I'm saying? That mindset that pisses you off, millions of people possess it. You know what I'm saying? If you think only one person possesses the mindset that frustrates you, or the type of social media post, like, there's a community of these people out there. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna run into them. So it's like, if you think that signing out of all social media is the solution to you not being angry, nah, like, you got to know how to just be accepting, man. Like, being accepting, that's the best way to deal with a lot of stuff, Like, when my best friend died, there was nothing I could do besides accept the fact that he's dead and I can't bring him back. Acceptance was how I dealt with that L, you know what I mean? Like, he's never coming back, No amount of crying that I do is gonna bring him back. No amount of asking God why is he dead is gonna bring him back. You know what I'm saying? And what helped me a lot and gave me a lot of closure, I actually had a dream which I'll share with you. But so I had a dream because after my friend died, I was mourning his death for like at least 4 months, probably more. And I had a dream where everything was white, and I heard a voice talking to me, and he was like, "Yo, I'll give you any power you want, like whatever power, and you could use it however you want to." I'm like, "All right, cool. I want the power to rewind time." So then, so he gave me that power. So I went back in time to the day that my friend was gonna die, and I begged him not to go to work. Him and his girlfriend, they died together, and so I saved his life, and I thought I was doing the right thing, like. But so there's a like fast forward, right? And there's like parties, and we're all having a good time, and everything's good. And then eventually, him and his girlfriend gets inserted with the mark of the beast, which is something biblical. Like it's this thing that you get on your forehead or on your right hand that like once you're implanted with that, like there's no chance of you going to heaven when you die at all. Like your fate is sealed. You're going to hell forever, basically, something like that. So he got that, right? And I was like, oh shit, what happened? Like I thought I was doing my friend a favor, going back in time, saving his life. And then I was in a white room again, and the same voice was talking to me, and he said, "This is why I'm God and you're not, because you like you judge according to your emotions. You know what I mean? See, I gave you the power to go back in time, but you didn't have the power of knowing the future and knowing the ramifications of you changing things in the past and how that affects the future." He was like, "I need you to understand, everybody's life is in my hand. Everything is in my control. Like, don't worry about what's gonna happen, or what's gonna happen next." So, and then I woke up, craziest dream I ever had in my life. But from that dream, I learned acceptance, and that's just how I deal. Yeah, knowing what you have control over and what you don't have control over is a very good thing to know. You know what I'm saying? Because usually we spaz out over things that we have no control over, such as when you're driving, somebody cuts you off in traffic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's frustrating, but, you could be excited that they didn't scrape your vehicle. There was no car accident, My one friend, he always says, when people like start spazzing, he'll ask them like, "Yo, did you die though? Like, yo, did you die?" Like, saying like, if you're not dead, it's not that deep. And it's funny when he says that. But anyways, yeah, so like, even though like, people are always going to cut somebody off in traffic. People are always going to drive recklessly, like, let's say you go to McDonald's, right? Someone has an attitude. They work at McDonald's. They probably are not happy to be there. You know what I'm saying? We take people's attitudes so personally, like, "Yo, like, why are you talking to me like that?" And it's like, bruh, like, whose goal in life was to work at McDonald's? Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "I can't wait to fucking work at McDonald's as soon as I could work. That's my long life dream. Like, my mom worked there, my dad worked there, and I'm gonna make so much money there." Like, no one says that shit. You know what I mean? So for me personally, because I have empathy towards people in their position in life, and I'm just understanding, I'm empathetic. It's like a superpower, man. Like, to get in someone's head and understand what they feel. You know what I'm saying? Because if all you do is care to understand your vantage point, that's one of the core pillars of the reasons why you're always frustrated by social media, because you don't give a fuck about someone else's vantage point. You only care about how their vantage point is a disruption towards yours, and that's what you care about. You getting rubbed the wrong way by other people. Instead of asking somebody, so like, this is your political view. Tell me why do you agree with this? Like, why are you a pro-life, or why are you this, or why are you Trump or anti-Trump, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, maybe the person you're talking to knows something that you don't know. Maybe they have a smart reason for having. The thing is, we get on here and we just call people stupid for having an opinion different than ours, as if we know everything about everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I noticed? The most foolish people have the most to say, and some of the wisest people are pretty quiet and they don't say too much. But like, foolish people, they always want to throw their opinion everywhere and say, "No, this should be this way," or this, you know what I mean? And they don't really have empathy towards the other person and what they want or what they prefer or what they, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not about them. It's about the foolish person only cares about himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, and things that are meaningful to him, and imposing that onto others. So yeah, man. Like, what I was gonna say. So yeah, man, the stuff that frustrates you on social media, right? If someone said that in real life, you'd probably have a very similar reaction. You know what I mean? If someone says, "Man, Trump is the best president ever," like, even now, as you heard me say that, however your reaction would be, like, or whatever you would type out on a post to call your friend stupid, or they're getting blocked and deleted because they believe that, you'd probably say that to them in real life. You know what I'm saying? Or on a text message. or on, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't really think that it's really changing people, you know? So, like some of you might wonder how come people, how come people post their fancy cars and their living and their like, $10,000 cash, 20,000 showing off and stuff. Like if they had no platform to show off on, then every person they meet in real life, they couldn't wait to have that conversation to talk about what they have and how they earned it and how they're a big shot now that they have so much money. You know what I'm saying? So if you take away the platforms, like you don't think these people would still be braggadocious everywhere else that they go? You know what I'm saying? Like if they had no camera to take photos with of their car, you think they wouldn't just show it to other people, you know what I'm saying? Or just tell people about it. So yeah, man, like you're gonna have to convince me that it makes people like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Don't The only thing is like it enhances communication. Like there's shit that we post now that we would have never like texted our friend to say. Like, someone will post something like, "Yo, I'm eating a Reese's peanut butter cup." You would never call your friend to say that. You would never text him to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but somehow that's a social media post. But it's an enhanced communication because like now you know that that's what they're eating, but you would have never known that because it's such a spontaneous thought that, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. To me, I look at social media like a public diary, and I think probably the best way to do it for me personally, I like going like years into my timeline, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and just see where I came from, how I used to feel, how I used to think, comparison to now. But yeah, for me, all right. So for me, like all I used to do is get on here and complain. That's all I did. Like I didn't post anything worth your time listening to or consuming or none of that. Like just complaining, calling like women this and bitches that and this motherfucker this. Like that's all that it was, pretty much. A lot of it, all of it was someone bothers me because they're not, because I had a self-righteous judgment on people. You know what I'm saying? They're not performing to the level I think they should be. They're not molding to what I think they should be. And because that I have an issue, always making it out to be, you know, other people's issues, or if people change, maybe I would be different. You know what I mean? Like becoming a victim, man. That's what victims do. I ain't a victim no more. Thank God, man. But that's all I did, But without social media, I would have got on the phone, would have had the same complaints, same issues, the same grumblings, same whining, all of that, So yeah, man. Anyways, there's so much good that could come from social media. I know that all we see is the negative. And here's the thing, yo, some of you don't know this. If you comment on a bunch of status that you don't like, first of all, when you're always going back and forth with somebody, Facebook is going to start showing you more of their posts because Facebook assumes that you like that person since you're commenting, since you're watching their shit, since you're liking or whatever it is. So if, let's say, every day somebody posts something that you don't like, and for the next 4 days you have something to say about that, the next 4 days after that, you're going to see their post twice as many times, three times on your news feed, because now Facebook will calibrate that person as now being important to you, and they show up on your timeline, on your feed a lot more often than if you said nothing. So that's the power of like ignoring shit. Like just, what I'm saying? What are you going to do? Change the person? Like what are you going to do? Force them to see things the way you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I just, when I scroll through here, it's not like I don't see a lot of same ridiculousness that you see or that other people see. I see it. I just know that if I had 10 minutes left to live, that's not how I would want to spend my last 10 minutes, So I'm always pretending that I have 10 minutes to live and asking myself, if I die doing this, would it be a good use of my time? Like, would I want to die doing this, Fucking trying to adjust another human. Like, is that a good use of my time? Or is that a good, like, finger wagging at someone else? Like, oh, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and I'm not saying that, obviously, like, if you have a good friend that they're on heroin, like, you want to talk to them about that. But at the end of the day, like, you can't make someone not do heroin. You can't make someone not smoke cigarettes. You can't make someone not post what you consider to be stupid. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, like, for me, there's very few things that matter, and that's why there's not much that you probably see me comment on here, Like, I don't think there would be anything good that would come of me seeing somebody say something that I think is stupid and then writing a four page essay about how I disapprove of it And here's what humans do. At the end of the 4 pages that you write, you be like, oh, by the way, I don't care about this conversation. Yes, you do, motherfucker. You wrote 4 pages, and yet at the bottom you claim you don't care. So 4 pages is proof that you care about the conversation, man. I don't know why people do that. Like, we're so quick to say that something doesn't matter. I remember a guy told me, he asked me, what rumors is somebody spreading about him, or what type of gossip or bad things are people saying. And I remember, like, I was doing something, so I didn't respond immediately. I don't know if he thought that I was avoiding the question, but he was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter." And I'm like, "Bro, it matters. It matters because you want to know. Like, don't try to bring up a point and say that, oh, you want to know something, but then, oh, forget it. It doesn't matter. It matters to you. You know what I mean? And like I said, when it comes to rumors, the only reason you want to know is someone saying something bad about you is so that you could get on their case. Or, oh, he's saying this about me. Well, he needs to fix this part about his life, and that's why his kids hate him, and that's why his wife is leaving, and that's why, like, who is he to talk about me? Like, that's the first thing we want to do, is talk about the people that are talking about us, as if that makes us any better than the people that we disagree with talking about us. Like, it makes you just like the person is doing that when you result to their level. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I don't know, man. We get so excited to know who's saying bad stuff so we could get angry. Like, who the fuck is excited about getting angry? Like, such a destructive emotion, man. Like, everything, it destroys families, relationships, friendships. Like, anything good that's gonna come in your life, anger is gonna destroy it, man. Like, it's not even good to be angry when you're boxing. Some people would probably think that anger is a good emotion to utilize, but nah, man. It's good to be calm in all situations, or learn how to be calm. When you're angry in a fight, you take a punch personally, you lose your stamina trying to knock somebody out because you're so frustrated that they clocked you. You should have had your hands up. You would have never got clocked in the face if you was guarding yourself and paying attention. You know what I'm saying? And now you're going to take a punch personally and wear yourself out the next 2 rounds. And on the third, you're going to get knocked out because you don't have the strength to defend yourself because you wasted it getting offended. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, life is like a boxing match, like a chess move. You know what I mean? Like, so, in chess, like, with the least amount of moves, you want to do what you have to do. You don't want to take 7 moves to do something that could have taken 2. You know what I mean? So yeah, anyways, so yeah. And here's the thing, right? I want to talk about correction, because one thing I notice on social media, we're excited to correct somebody, whether it's politically correct or grammatically correct. People correcting spelling. There's people that you'll read a paragraph or two, let's say it's 2 paragraphs, and it's some impactful, meaningful shit that could probably change your life if you actually read it not looking for grammatical errors. You know what I mean? But since we read to look for grammatical errors, we fail to see the point in what's being said, because we don't focus on what's being said. It's the presentation. It's, and then people treat Facebook like it's school or something. Like, you're a teacher, you're an English teacher, and you're correcting someone's paper. So, and it's like, bruh, like, did you miss the whole point of what this dude was trying to, like, he said some deep poetic stuff, and you want to look at grammar? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, but what doesn't matter to me matters to someone else. I don't give a fuck about grammar, punctuation, spelling. Like, if I can make out what you're saying, I'm not going to correct you. Like, if you have a heavy accent, or you don't speak English too fluently, I'm not going to be a dick, like, every 2 seconds saying, oh, you said this, but did you mean this? You know what I mean? Like, and here's the thing about correcting somebody. If you could tell somebody what they mean, then you know what the fuck they meant. Because you telling them what they mean is proof that you know what they meant. So you correcting them in that moment was a waste of your time and theirs, because you could have proceeded and moved forward with the conversation knowing what they mean, because you just told them what they mean. And it's not like you was trying to find. A lot of people be like, oh, I'm just trying to clarify. Like, no, you're not. Like, you knew exactly, like, you clarified 46 times in a row over the past 5 minutes. How much clarification do you need? And every time you got it right, which means you know exactly what they're trying to say to you. You just like, some people, that's what they like doing, man. I don't know. So, what's crazy? Before I started this podcast, I was thinking, I was like, yo, there's so many people that criticize. I wonder how much critics make, as a living, like movie critics, music critics. Yo, movie critics make $88,000 a year. That shit is crazy. Just to criticize, like, you know what I'm saying? And I was thinking, man, like, people like criticizing so much, why not get paid to do it professionally? Like, I don't know. I'd be damned if I do something for free. Like, unless it's something I really enjoy doing, like the whole music thing, doing it for free now because, like, I really love it, So I feel like money is definitely important, right? But if you have to get paid all the time for what you're doing, you might not like what you're doing that much. You know what I mean? Like video games, for example. A lot of you people that play video games, no one has to pay you to play it. You love it. Like, you like doing that. You know, it's your form of escapism. It's what you do. You know, and if you're a good video gamer, I'm sure like it'll be nice, a bonus. Yeah, it'll incentivize you to get better at video games if you got paid for it. Like, I saw this one guy. This one guy made 60 grand playing Mortal Kombat. It's crazy. Another tournament for Mortal Kombat, another person won $200,000, and I was like, yo, it's crazy, man, how much people are getting paid. You know, so yo, like even video gamers like that are getting paid. Like social media creates an opportunity for these people. Like they could have a gaming channel, they could have a YouTube or whatever, and they could upload their fights from Mortal Kombat, from Street Fighter, and they could put the certain hashtags and keywords and get so noticed on YouTube that sponsors start reaching out to them and saying, hey, like, would you like to play professionally? Like, we'll pay you. We're hosting a tournament, right, for Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. We'll pay you to come here. We'll pay your flight here and back, as well as your hotel, you know. And then we'll pay you a little bit on the side. And then if you win, you'll make more money from winning the tournament. But here's how much we're gonna reimburse you for your time and for your travel. Like, if you think that shit is not happening, you know. So it's just awesome that, you know, it's like when video games, like in 1995, right, 96, 97, when people were amazing at Street Fighter, like, I don't know what the hell they had to do to get discovered, but it was damn sure not as easy as uploading a YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell did the people do in 1997? I had no fucking idea. You know, like they had to travel. They had to have a car, and they had to go to local tournaments and putting quarters in the machine and proving themselves there. You know what I mean? Like, and then hopefully someone that's worth something is there and they witness you playing and they invite you to a tournament, or someone sees you, or someone so happens to, you see what I mean? So yeah, shit was just a lot harder to get your message across, to get heard, to be understood, to find your community of people, you know? So, I mean, yeah, like we could dwell on negative if you want to. You could be like, yeah, well, what about the bullying or cyberbullying? So many people killing themselves because they can't handle what people have to say to them on the internet, you know? And it's like, yeah, but I'm sure there's just as many people that are not killing themselves because they didn't, they if it wasn't for the internet, they would have never had that one friend, that one optimistic friend that talked them out of suicide multiple times, that they would have never had access to, because their family members are negative as hell. You know what I'm saying? Their family members or their local friends never have anything positive to say to them, but they connected with that one person on PlayStation, or that one person on Xbox or Facebook or whatever, you know, social media or whatever platform they're on. And because of the constant conversation and communication, you know, like, yo, it's crazy how you could get on PlayStation and talk to somebody that's in Japan, like, you know, or California or fucking Europe. Like, you know, sometimes I be playing video games and I'm like, yo, where you from? They're like, Germany. And I'm like, yo, what the hell? Like, you know, so the opportunities for social interaction is just, it's just a lot higher now than it's been, you know. I think humans are a lot more social now than they have ever been, you know. Some people will say, oh, everyone's antisocial because no one wants to what you call it, talk on a phone, you know. Like, and yeah, like, I'm not gonna lie, 15 years ago, talking on a phone, that's the main way that we communicated, like, you know. But now it's text messaging. That's just what people prefer to do. Like, a lot of people will, you call them, they'll forward your phone call and be like, they'll text you back like, yo, you need something? Like, it's like, yeah, what I need you to do is answer your phone, actually. But yeah, I don't know, like, you know, and you might wonder why people do that. Like, yo, why do people don't? Because it's easier. Whatever's easier, that's what humans gravitate towards. It's easier to talk to text than it is to talk on a phone, and you know what I mean. So I don't know. And it depends on what type of person you are. You know, if you're the type of person to put a lot of pressure on somebody and demand an explanation as to where you've been these last 4 days, then yeah, people are going to force you to text them so that they could get back to you on their terms and not on your terms. Because when you're on the phone with them, whatever question they ask, waiting for an answer immediately. But on text messaging, it's convenient to them, because if you ask a question that they don't feel like answering, they just won't answer it, you know. But if it's on a phone, it creates that awkward, like, silence or possible argument, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, man, whatever's easier. Like, if people feel like talking to you on the phone is going to cause an argument, they'll force you to text them and put you in a position where they could just ignore your text messages because they don't like talking to you on the phone. They don't really like texting you either, but they could barely tolerate you if it's texting, you know what I mean? So they'll at least deal with you on that level. So yeah, anyways, but yeah, when, like, getting back to what I said earlier about subliminal posts, right? When someone says something about you, maybe they have a point. You know what I mean? Like if someone calls you an asshole, maybe you are. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But we're so defensive. We're so quick to say that we're great people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of us are a lot more terrible than we'd like to believe, you know? But we're quick to defend comments that are said about us and defend, you know what I mean? Instead of, because the only way you'll listen, the only way you'll grow is if you hear what's being said. At least hear it, and then, you know, figure out how much of it is true, how much of it applies to you. Because sometimes people have an assessment on your character that's completely inaccurate, you know? And sometimes people know exactly what they're talking about in regards to you, and you misappropriate your character. Like, you think you're on level 10 in regards to how much of a good human being you are, and you're on -4. You know what I'm saying? Like, so people often over amplify their services, or over amplify how good they are, or how what you call it, you know what I'm saying, altruistic they are and caring for their neighbors and for the next person. Like, I met a lot of salesmen that they try to make it all about me. Yo, the other guy, like the other day, there was this guy, cause my bumper, like it's scratched up, and it's like it has a hole in it on the side, on the back. And some guy was like, yo man, I have the tools, I could help you right now, but it will be like 280. And he just kept pestering me for a sale. Like, he's really trying to get money out of me. Like, yo, you got Cash App? You got money in your... I'm like, yo, bro, I have nothing. Like, I don't get paid till Tuesday. I was like, give me your business card. I'll come see you in person. He's like, oh, I'm from Maryland. I'm not from out here. You know what I mean? Trying to force a sale type shit. You know, I was about to tell the dude, yo, if you really want to fucking help me, you could do it for free. Like, I could offer you that option. Because he kept trying to talk me down in numbers. Like, oh, you can't do 280? What about 200? What about 150? And then finally, these people came back like, yo, what price will you do it for? You know, I was so tempted to say, what about free? You like that price? Because I like that price. Like, if not, then fuck, man, I got shit to do. Like, because I was in the middle of a delivery anyways, so I didn't really have time for them to pop out the dent in my car and repair it, or, you know, use adhesive glue or whatever. I don't know what the fuck they was gonna do. But so yeah, anyways, yeah, back to social media though. Like, it's just so many opportunities, man. So many jobs being created, you know? So many, the shit that I'm doing now came from an application on a smartphone. The shit is crazy. Like DoorDash and stuff. You know, like, people could post their talents, their singing, their songs, their poetry. They could find other people that do the same thing as them. They got Facebook communities. So it's so much good, right? So it all depends on what side of the fence you want to dwell on. You want to dwell on the negative shit? There's always going to be negative shit, you know? And if you stay there long enough, you'll become numb to all the positive stuff. Because when you hear about positive stuff happening, you'll be like, yeah, well, but what about the negative? And what about this? And what about that? You know what I mean? Like, you know, so whenever someone, you know, that one person, I'm sure we all got one person in our life who, whenever you bring up something positive, they find something bad about it. You know, no matter what, like, they're professional fault finders, you know, and these people are never blessed. I bet you, man, even if they always have money, even if they're, you know, their family's okay and everyone's healthy and their job is paying them well, they're never blessed, man, because all they know how to do is see negative shit and then have a negative emotional reaction. And they're constantly ruining their own day and blaming it on circumstance or people or this or that, you know, so, but anyways, so yeah, man, I've always thought social media was cool, that it was intriguing and stuff, and it's gonna be bad shit everywhere. You know what I mean? Like yeah, unfortunately, like, since everyone has a camera now, you're gonna see a lot more street fights being uploaded, and people getting embarrassed, and people getting killed live on camera, or fucking performing suicide live on camera. A lot of like crazy shit happening, you know. But yeah, I'm not convinced that those incidences, that they wouldn't have happened had it not been for social media, you know? Like when like, if someone's getting cyberbullied, right? They kill themselves and they write a note to their bullies and say, if you didn't bully me, I'd still be alive. Like, no, man, if you wasn't a weak ass person, you'd be alive. Like, it's not, yeah, it sucks you was bullied. Yeah, it sucks that people were mean to you. But the question is not, why are they so mean? Like, no, why can't we tolerate stuff? Why can't we learn how to deal with stuff, you know, without taking it so personally, you know? And it's because it's all about us. Everything is all about us, how we feel, how we're being violated. And you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then we get either suicidal or homicidal, and we start thinking that that's the way to go. And So yeah, man. I don't know. Like, there's so many things I know now that I'm glad I know. You know, because when I was brokenhearted, like I said this on another podcast, I thought the problem was she broke my heart. That's not the problem. The problem is that I was soft as hell. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Because me being soft as hell, every relationship that I get into, I was going to be positioned for frustration at some point or another. Same type of frustrations, same type of attitudes, the same type of disappointments and failures. And how come you're not doing this and why that? And you know what I'm saying? And putting such pressure on people to be what I need them to be. You know, I'm never going to live like that ever again. So now the problem that I had was fixed, you know? So, which the problem was me, you know, the biggest problem I've ever had was me, you know? So it's social media is not your problem, you know? People posting dumb shit's not your problem. Like, you know, people, because people are going to be people, man, you know? Like life is a numbers game, you know? And you might think that how come all the idiots find their way to your page? And it's like, yo, you added them, you know, like, so I thank God for Gary Vee, man. He taught me a lot about accountability because that's where happiness is. He says shit like, if you don't like your kids, you created them. You don't like your wife, you married her. You don't like your job, you filed an application to work there. You don't like your circumstance at somehow, some way, like you have something to do with you. You don't like your roommate, kick him out. Your roommate doesn't like you, he could kick you out. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, cause like I lived in with a roommate for 7 months. I hated this motherfucker, like, you know, at the time. But like, why was I complaining? Because at any moment I could have left, right? And if he hated me being there, at any moment he could have kicked me out, you know? But the thing is, people, we try to have patience, you know, or we have a false sense of patience thinking that things are going to change or the person's going to change or you know, so I don't know, man, like people have not changed, you know, but I changed. And when I change, everything changes because my mindset towards people is different, you know? So, anyways, but if I was living with that same roommate that I hated back then, I'd be living from a different place. Instead of looking at him for how irritable he is and annoying, I'd be like, man, I wonder what's making him like this. I wonder what he's going through. I wonder if I could be the solution to this person's problem or talk with them or help in some type of way. Instead, I couldn't help but to notice how badly I'm being affected because I didn't give a fuck about my roommate. I gave a fuck about me. And that's why I was miserable because all I cared about was me, you know? So it's something I notice about miserable people. They're always selfish. You know, the happy people, they're always generous, they're always giving, they're always loving. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't realize that until like right now when I started saying that. I was like, you know, so it just dawned on me live in this podcast. But yeah, man, miserable people is all about self only, you know, never worrying about the other person. Like when someone insults you and you get offended and then you punch them in the face, it's all about you in that moment instead of wondering, man, what are they going through? Like, you know, because I seen this one video. This guy had like a mohawk and it was like, I think a mohawk and it was like purple or something like that. And the video that I was watching, it was a damn older video. And God put a word in his heart about that guy. And he says, I know why your hair is like that. And he was like, what are you talking about, man? He says, you know, he says your mother hates mohawks and your mother hates purple hair. But the only reason you wear that hair like that is because it hurts your mother's feelings. And right now you're in rebel mode, like, you know what I mean? Like you're intentionally trying to hurt your mother's feelings. And then the other guy lost it, like started crying and stuff like, yo, how do you know that? How do you know that that's why I wear my hair like this? You know? And I think the reason God gave him that word of knowledge was because he knew that he wasn't going to abuse it. You know what I mean? Like how many of us, if God showed you a vision or a dream, like whatever, like somehow you got a confirmation that it was God himself telling you that your girlfriend is cheating on you. Like how many of y'all would punch that girl in her face or punch the dude in his face or kill somebody? Like, you know what I mean? So I saw another video from Dan Mohler. He said, there's so many things that I want to reveal to man, but man is incapable of handling the information. And I know what they're going to do with the information once they get it. It's going to be nothing godly, nothing edifying, nothing that helps or benefits anybody. And that's why I don't tell them certain things. But there's so much stuff inside of me that I want to reveal to man and stuff. And this was a separate video. I'll tell you about this one too. It was the one where Dan Mohler found out that his wife was going places. You know, he told his wife, like, you know, you've been going to this place and that place and that place. And there was no way that he could have known that without God specifically telling him, like, 1-to-1. And then his wife started crying. She was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Like, I hope you're not mad at me. And then he was like, mad at you? You're kidding me? I love you. Like, what do you think? I love you any less because you wear certain outfits and you go certain places and you do certain things? Like, that's not going to change my love for you. You know what I mean? And yeah, and instead of him holding his wife so accountable for the places that she's been going to without his permission and without him knowing about it, he was just like, yo, man, like, I love you, like, regardless of that, like, like, but she felt convicted, she felt guilty, and it changed. I'm pretty sure she changed, but his love for her didn't change, and I think the only reason God showed him that vision or whatever he showed him was because he knows how to handle the information without becoming self-destructive, and then that self-destruction spilling over onto his wife, and then both of their days ruined, or both of their marriages is ruined, or dude is like, oh, now I gotta find these people that are doing this, and so yeah, I don't know, man. Like with social media, like some people say social media causes fights, and it's like, nah, bruh, like, because like, all right, if you post something right now and you say somebody's first and last name, let's say you tag them in a post and you call them a disgusting piece of shit. Like, why are you surprised if the very next day you get punched in your shit? Like, why is that surprising to anybody? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you provoked a person that you knew was probably gonna punch you, but sometimes people like, I don't know. One thing I could say, like, I don't know if people think they're invincible, but like they just think that they're unstoppable, and maybe that's maybe from them hanging out with people that act that way, and that shit rubs off on them. But yeah, anyways, if I tagged you in a post, said your first and last name, and did a blog post about you, like I wouldn't be surprised if you punch me in my shit the next day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how a lot of humans would want to react. I mean, well, few humans would actually react like that, but everybody would pretty much want to react that way. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we try to bring the devil out of people, and then we get surprised when the devil shows up. So, but anyways, but yeah. So I know this one guy. I'm gonna tell you this other story. One of my good friends. I remember one time somebody said something towards him that could have been offensive, and they apologized towards him, and he was like, yo, apologize for what? Like, you can't offend the dead, like, and he was talking about like dying to yourself, becoming a new creation. Like when he says you can't offend the dead, he was referring to the old version of him that would have gotten offended, but that version of him is dead, and he now has a new personality that's has a lot thicker skin, and it's not about, what I'm saying, he's not alive for people to say the right things to him. I thought that was so funny when he said that, like, oh, like, I'm a dead man, you can't offend me or something like that. But yeah, I learned a lot from that dude, man. He's such a good dude. He taught me a lot of stuff, and he actually told me about Dan Moeller. That's how I found out about those videos, was through him. But yeah, man. So I had a friend that told me a story like that someone was talking about someone, and then ended up getting in a fight. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that that's social media's fault, because it's not social media's fault what you choose to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you choose to talk about people badly all day on here, that's how you choose to. You probably would have been doing that without social media. Like I said earlier, you would have gotten on the phone and said the same things. Got on text messages and said the same things. So it's not social media's fault. Like, it just, because of social media, it makes everything so accessible now, for the good and bad. It amplifies everything, but it doesn't change people. It just amplifies like the amount of good that could be done and the amount of bad that could be done. But regardless, good people are going to be good on these platforms. Bad people are going to be bad on these platforms. Scammers are going to be scammers on these platforms. People that talk shit are going to talk shit on these platforms. You know what I'm saying? But all of these people would be doing the same things off of these platforms if they didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? So if you think it changes people, I just don't. I don't see that. So Gary says it best in this one example. He was like, if you walk into a restaurant and you see a couple on their phone, like he was like, yo, you might think that that's sad or whatever. That both of them are on the phone or they're not talking, but he was like, yo, but you have no context of their relationship. He was like, you don't know that their last 15 dates were super successful, and they're not even the type to bring their phones on a date. They leave it at home. But this one time, maybe they were arguing, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, we walk into a restaurant, we have zero context on a table, but we judge the whole table because it's in the moment, like it doesn't matter about context. When we're judging, it never matters about the whole story. We just care about the piece of the story that we bear witness to, and that's what we judge. But we base the whole story based on a piece of what we see, But he was like, yo, he was like, the same couple that they stay on their phones to distract themselves from each other. He said 20 years ago, that same couple, they don't even fucking like each other. They can't wait for the date to be over. And he said, thank God that these two people have phones that they could distract each other from, because it'd probably lead to both of them, if they didn't have phones to distract themselves with, probably lead to them throwing drinks at each other or yelling or cursing, arguing and acting crazy. So they're just passing the time. But he was like, yo, I really believe, like, if that couple doesn't, like, if they're not intimate or if it's not, like, thank God for their phones, because now they could not kill each other at the table because of technology or something like that. He said it was funny. I forgot how he said it though. But so yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on this whole social media stuff. And yeah, man, I just want to say, like, whatever stuff people say, every time someone says something that makes you mad, it's only one reason you're mad. They said something you think they shouldn't have. So stop believing that and all these shoulds and shouldn'ts in regards to other people's life. But in regards to your life, yeah, of course, you should have your own list of what you think you should do or not do or stay away from or pursue. Like, keep that list. Be religious about your own list to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't impose that to other people. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with having conversations. Nothing wrong with, but some of us, like, like, you're going to repeat your opinion to a person like 25 times in one day. And, and then the other person's going to be like, yo, why are you trying to change me? And then you're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? All I'm doing is expressing myself. And they're like, yeah, but you told me the same thing that many times. And it feels like it's imposing, like, like to them, it feels like until they agree with you, you're going to have an issue with them since you keep bringing it up. So I feel like the only way to have healthy relationships for real, is to just, say your points of views and then just respect people. Like, whatever they choose to do, it's not none of your fucking business. Just believe that it's between the person, the individual, and God. Like, that's up to them, those two, what they choose to do, like how God chooses to proceed and what they choose to do, man, because they have free will. And in the Garden of Eden, like, God didn't stand in the way of them not doing the right thing. The option to do bad was there. Like, of course, he didn't want them to do the bad thing, but it was still an option, So, for those of you that are Christian, like, I say this all the time. I think, God's greatest example of him loving his people is Jesus dying on a cross. But I really believe the second greatest example is giving you free will and respecting it. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what direction you choose to go, he loves you enough to let you choose. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, he wants people on his side, but not so much so that he's going to be a tyrant and a fucking communist, Fidel Castro in the face about it. It's like, do what you prefer, like, it's going to try to get your attention. It's going to try to talk to you. But if you come to the conclusion that God's not for you, then guess what? For you, then I guess he's not, like, because he's not an uninvited guest. And a lot of us are uninvited guests with our opinions, in other people's domains, so yeah, man. Anyways, so yeah, man, I pray for all of your relationships, for your finances. Bless you guys. And, yeah, man, stop getting mad at social media posts. Like, the people you're mad at, your anger doesn't change them. Your anger is not going to make stupid people stop posting stupid stuff, because whatever content someone posts, it's only a reflection of what they are at the moment, who they are at the moment. So if you think your anger stops that from happening, then you're naive, or if you think that you deleting them, give me a second. Because, like, here's the thing, right? If you delete them, more people just like them are going to pop up somewhere on your feed, More people that think and talk and act just like that. So the problem is not the individual, it's the mindset, If they changed the mindset, they probably wouldn't even be the person that you have an issue with anymore. They'd be something completely different. Instead of something that you run away from, they'd probably be something you walk towards to if they were something else, you know what I'm saying? But because they think a certain way, they're going to act a certain way, So everyone has a justification, that makes their actions permissible. And that's why they engage in certain activities, because they have a justification and it's permissible in their own mind. So it's acceptable to them, even if it's not acceptable to anybody else, And most people, no one gives a damn, Like, if you comment on someone's post, hey, I'm so offended by what you said, you know what they're going to tell you? Get over it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Delete me then. That's another thing I noticed. People are super quick to say that. Yo, you got a problem? Delete me. Because people are like I ain't about to let you change me, So, and you might be like, oh, it's pride, it's arrogance, And here's what I noticed. Like, if you spend all your time pointing out someone else's pride, then that's your pride. You know what I'm saying? Like you're prideful about pointing out pride. So that's, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, like, yeah, maybe it's arrogance, maybe it's pride, but people don't have to be what you want them to. You know what I'm saying? It's up to the individual, you know? And like sometimes we try to make people love us and shit. Like sometimes we be like, yo, how come you're not more affectionate with me? How come you're not loving? How come you don't like, yo, would you like somebody to love you because they want to, or love you because they begged you to death? And it's a false sense of love. They don't actually fucking love you, but it seems real because they are making it seem that way so that they don't have to hear your mouth. Like, which one do you prefer? You want it to be authentic, you know? So for me, I always give people space to be whoever they prefer to be, you know, because it's the only way that I could know who I'm dealing with, instead of creating all these like filters, like and molds that I expect people to adapt to, you know, on what their morals should be or their principles, or, you know. So yeah, man, if you want to see who someone is, give them space to be who they prefer to be. And in that place, you'll know who they are, you know, because when you beg someone to be a certain way, yeah, maybe they'll be that way for a while, or maybe even long, like a year or two, but they're only that way so that they don't have to deal with you. And then it's not authentic. And you don't even know that you're causing them to not be authentic towards you. You know what I'm saying? Like, or influencing them to feel like, you know, that's how they have to be in order to not put up with a certain side of you they rather not put up with. So anyways, so it's pretty much it for this podcast, and see you on the next one. Take care.